In this video, I'm going to talk about some fascinating bike industry news on April 1st of 2025. No April Fool's jokes right here, but the weather is playing tricks on us. It's still raining here in Northern California, in the Bay Area, Northern California, Santa Cruz area today, maybe tomorrow as well. I hear the rest of the country is getting some interesting weather as well, and there might be some polar vortex action happening in April. Not great for the bike industry because this was supposed to be buying riding season. So the later this thing pushes out, that revenue is hard to recover. But we're not going to talk about bad news in the industry. We're going to talk about some really cool news that's happened. The first one is Yamaha Motors acquires or agrees to acquire Brose's bicycle e-kit business unit. Brose is a German company most famous for supplying e-bike motors for themselves and also all the Levos, or not all the Levos, the full-powered Levos. They also worked with SRAM in their e-bike motor effort. So they are a big player for sure. And this one came out of left field, All of a sudden, Yamaha, the most unlikely of suitors, just said, hey, we'll purchase you. I'm sure it's not cheap. The Yamaha is interesting because last year they exited the e-bike market in the United States. So, they wanted to play motorcycle company. They have their own motor that hasn't been updated in like 3 to 5 years, but they just shut down their full bike. But it's the right way to do it. And when that happened, their bikes were awful anyway. Their e-bikes were not awful. They weren't that competitive, but their motor was very good. So I figured, man, they just got to stick to motors. Motors is where the business is at because all the people, the manufacturers will be at your doorstep asking for your motor if it's any good. So no details on the price of the acquisition, but it ensures the future of Brose, and now they have financial backing of Yamaha, and I think Yamaha understands that e-bikes are here to stay. Second piece of news is a good one. It's Leatt Corporation revenues jumped in Q4 year over year in double digits, DD, and I believe it jumped something like 14% from 9.8 million in 2023 to 11.2. What's the percentage on that? But that's double digit, 14%, which is really cool, right? It's the first flat. When I said flat is the new growth for 2024, now people are starting to see growth again. So for the year over year, they didn't quite make money because the first part of the year was tough. But from the latest quarter to the previous quarter of the previous year, or the same quarter of the previous year, 14% growth. Pretty darn good. And what's really cool, I've been talking to their folks. It said that it's looking pretty strong in 2025. So they're going to continue that momentum. Maybe there's hope for our bike industry yet, right? And Leatt is one of the ones to take advantage of this because they're really cool. So they said they started with neck braces. They're really good at neck braces, invented that genre, that category, but now that neck brace market is falling. No one really needs a neck brace. It's a very niche market, but they have evolved. They have pivoted to address the rise of users. And what do they have that's really fascinating? I'd like to show you is they said they're getting a lot of market share. This is a very high growth market. Knee pads, of course, they have the best knee pads, but this is a protective jacket. Where you can't really get elbow pads that stay in place because they're just not meant to stay in place. The shape is just like a bottle and it just slides out, right? So what if it's attached to your arm, to your chest? It's going to stay. But what's really cool about this is just their protective jacket is you hardly know that you have it. It's like a base layer. And it's modular too. There's another module here that's a chest protector. And they have like 4 versions of it depending on how heavy you want it. And that's what Leatt does, is they really address what the needs of consumers are. And it's a design firm, engineering firm. They design it and they price it aggressively, maybe because they have a moto background. Moto, you can't overcharge customers, and they do very well there. So a lot of the clothing I've worn in the last 5 or 6 videos are all Leatt. I have jeans that are riding jeans that are Leatt. Really cool designs. You'll see shoes and helmets as well. So I'll flash you some pictures, but I'll put a link in the description as well. Really cool folks at Leatt, and they have their 2025 line is very good. Third piece of news is about Fazua. Fazua, it's like a yin and yang. They had some good news, but I'm gonna tell you the news that they didn't deliver, which is just staggeringly awful. So the news that they delivered is now they have a new ring controller and a new battery. So the ring controller, weird term, is just the switch that they have to activate your motor, Eco Trail boost. And now the old thing was so chintzy. The motor was good, but the controller was so awful. It was sticky. Felt so cheap. Now this thing looks pretty good. I'll show you a picture. And they also have a new battery. The new battery, weighing 2.4 kilograms, I think is the same weight as the old battery, is now 50 watt hours more. All well and good, right? Not really, because the product that they really need, that they promised a long time ago, is not here. And so I asked around, asked the manufacturers, asked the tech support of Fazua, where is the extender battery? So a lot of people, Fazua motor that you find in the the Heckler SL, the Pivot, a lot of bikes. It's a good motor, tiny motors, good torque, very efficient with a battery. They said 430 watt hours main battery, but you'll have an extender battery available, and about 200 watt hours, I think. But guess what? It's 3 years later, and that extender is still not here. People bought that bike expecting the extender would come, but the extender is not here. And if you buy a 400 watt hour battery, you do need an extender, especially as you get to know the bike, as you ride with groups, as you go on bigger adventures. So this is almost a crime to humanity. This could almost be illegal, if you promise something and don't deliver. So I'm not sure what the extent of the promises they made were, but I'm pretty sure most of my friends who bought this battery system were expecting the extender. So not here. It wasn't his press release, and I said, okay, where is it? Guys, tech support, representative from Fazua said September. And then some manufacturers were telling me, oh, you can put an order now. By the way, these batteries and ring controllers not available to June. And some manufacturers told me, oh, they said the June-July timeframe, Q3. But no firm statement. September is really far away. That should almost be next year. So major miss here for Fazua. It's really awful what they're doing with the extender. That they dare release these batteries without the extender. What's going on? Get it right. I know it's not easy to do a battery extender, but this is 3 years later, so pretty awful situation with Fazua, along with a lot of reliability issues with that motor. But when it's working real good. All right, fourth piece of news is REI. Just minor. Has a new chief merchant, so there's a new boss for merchandising. I don't know, it's like a CMO, CFO, president in charge of merchandising. So REI is a brick and mortar in trouble, having a hard time getting things going. And also another piece of news, REI stores add Rocky Mountain and Van Rysel bicycles to sell at their stores. So that's pretty cool. I think they said they're going to sell Canyon. So REI is really trying to be more of a bike shop. Because every time you go to REI, it's good to get a tent or some kind of sleeping bag, but their bikes are pretty awful. But they're trying to change that, because there is a need, especially in these new markets, for a good bike shop. And if REI can accomplish it, then it'd be good. Rocky Mountain, they're the ones who declared bankruptcy, Chapter 11 in the Canadian version a few months ago. I don't know what their future is going to be. But it can't be good because, every month stock market crashes. There's more tariffs against Canada. There's more uncertainty for the high-end consumer, and more tariffs. It's just I don't know how they're gonna clear their debt. They have 50 million that they need to take care of and stabilize their balance sheet. So I don't know if they're gonna survive. Hopefully they will. Good people there. Van Rysel is a brand by Decathlon. Decathlon, I had to research because they seem to be big, but no one's ever heard of them. So Decathlon is I believe, a European brand, and they're a all sport. You could buy some fitness gear, some fishing gear, but they apparently are trying to do a good job with bikes, and they want to do better. And Van Rysel is their gravel line of bikes, and they even have a World Cup XC team. I forgot the name of that. Some of those athletes, but they look like a good effort. Department store bikes with a World Cup XC team. So, interesting company. All right, and the last piece of news that I have for you guys is Sea Otter. Sea Otter is happening pretty much next week. It's gonna get going Thursday through Sunday. Let me know if you are gonna attend. That's an hour away from my home, so I'll certainly be there in a lot of the rides and the parties. Look for me, and I'll be hiding, getting some free beer. And the news is it's going to be a big event, but man, it can't be easy. I noticed some companies are not there. Yeti, High Bike, obviously Rocky Mountain is not there. What's that company, Kona? They're not going to be there. So it's going to be interesting. Who's there, who's not, and what kind of presence they have. One thing for sure is they are ripping off the bike industry. It's sad to say, Lifetime. They're a conglomerate, and they're a money-making conglomerate. And even though there's hard times in the bike industry, they don't seem to care or even be aware of it, because they are charging an arm and a leg for everything. The companies that I polled said, oh yeah, they're raising their booth prices, significant percent, double-digit percent, maybe 20% from last year. So the booths are getting expensive, little 10 by 10. Everything is expensive. You think food's going to be expensive, but it's almost more than San Francisco Giants food. $20 for a crap piece of plate of lunch. 22, I think. And then the racing. So entrance to get in there is $35 per day, or 125 for 4 days. Crazy. And the racing, to do a race, it's like $200. $205 for the popular races, the gravel race, and then another $18 for fees. My buddy said I would go, but the cheapest race is $150. So, come on, Lifetime. You're gonna kill this event. The one great event still happening in the bike industry. But unfortunate that they're doing it. But hey, that's they know they have kind of a monopoly on the main outdoor event in biking right now. So, hopefully, I'll see you guys there. I won't have a booth. I'll just be walking around, say hi. Take one of those cameras, photos with the camera facing you. What do you call those? And let's hang out. If you are from out of town, there's going to be a lot of rides in Monterey, but don't ride there. There's a lot of poison oak there. Santa Cruz, we will have good trails, good weather. Demo Forest is being rebuilt right now. The float trail, so it'll be ready. But we've had an amazing year of building, and now we have dry weather as far as the eyes can see for the next 10 days. So it should be good. All right. Thanks a ton, everybody.